Going to tell you about inventory. Those of you that have worked retail are going to cringe inwardly because inventory is an all-encompassing deal that pretty much takes up your whole life and whole year to year. A lot of places, I got to get ready for inventory. Got to be ready for inventory. All right, October, it's Christmas time, but after Christmas, we really got to gear up for inventory. All right, inventory's over, but we got to gear up for next year's inventory. And that's what it is like at places. I am thankful that where I work now in financial services, don't have to deal with that. We got different zoo and monkeys to deal with, but not like inventory. And I'm going to tell you about the inventories I've done in a couple of places. At the furniture store, we closed. Like, we closed the store, didn't leave it open for customers, and newer people got paid by the hour, so I got paid and got lunch for however long it took. But the people that worked there, it was just like a gratis day to be thankful that they got to work for such a wonderful company, which I thought was a little, kind of a shitty way to do your long-term employees. Congratulations, this is a day where you don't get paid and you have to work an unknown amount of hours, because we're going to get there at like, I don't even know, it was like 7 o'clock and work until it was done. And it consisted of scanning everything in the store. And you think, well, it's a furniture store, right? Well, that stuff's big and you can't have too much inventory on hand, which we didn't. But you had to scan everything. And I mean everything. Like, you got a cabinet full of glassware, all that glassware better be scanned. And if you miss something, well, you better find it. Because we are not leaving here until everything's found. And it got down to like 3 things, and we were digging, we were hunting, like lifting up rugs. Because one thing I will give them is we got, like, since there were no customers, I said before you had to be like in a coat and tie and suit. No, like, people wore whatever, and I do mean whatever. One girl was in like pajama shorts and a tank top and flip-flops, so that tells you you could literally wear anything and that would be fine. They were okay with that. So that part was nice. You could work in shorts. So I don't know, maybe for some of them it was worth it to do that. But we had to dig, and we never could find a couple things. And we told our manager, and he's like, so you looked everywhere? Yes, we looked everywhere. All right, fine, we'll shrink it out. And that was that. That was the inventory. That was a laid back inventory compared to another one I had to do at Golfsmith. At Golfsmith, my manager, I've said many times, didn't care about much of anything. He just wanted to go in, not get on to anybody, not hold people accountable, but he took inventory seriously. He's like, look at all those awards on the wall. Those are my awards for shrink. I'm so good at inventories. Like, I'm the most rewarded in the company for awarded though. I doubt it came with any money, but I mean, it could have affected his bonus, so I don't really know. And he went on, and we had to get all the stickers right, get them prepared, because we'd hired an outside company to scan everything. You know, inventory everything. Oh, okay, cool. And there's companies that do that. There's companies that's literally all they do, which the people that do it got to hate themselves. Because imagine you got to go to a place and just scan stuff for 9-10 hours on end. And what irritated me was the scan was on a Sunday after work closed, but it was at like 10 o'clock at night. So he made me drive an hour so we could work for like 2 or 3 so they could do the scans. And they put one employee with each person that scanned, and you tell them where to scan and stuff like that. And my area had been used clubs, and used clubs was just like a mess. But they got everything scanned. That took about 2 hours. And then he wanted me to come in, like, I left work at 2. He wanted me to come in at 7 the next day because we hired the company to do the scanning. And then for the next 2 weeks, we had to scan everything again. And all I thought was, why did we hire the company? Why not just do 2 scans? All right, you scan this area first, get a number, I'll scan it, and get a number. So for the next 2 weeks, we're doing rescans. And my manager conveniently has vacation. So Mr. Legendary Shrink Man is gone for 2 weeks. And that also means because there's only 2 managers left, I'm working 6 days a week for the next 2 weeks. And going through all that, I don't know how well we did. Because I did the scans, did them again, and then nothing really happened. But that inventory was ridiculously and needlessly complicated, so I didn't really understand it. And then we get to Walmart's inventory. And Walmart doesn't close. So doing that inventory is just impossible. And during that time, the managers are working every day. They're overworking them. Because I don't really understand. Like, you think, well, they need to be here every minute for as long as possible. Let's have them work 18-hour days. You're only good for about, after 40 hours, productivity drops off. After 60, it drops off even more. But Walmart, they were smart. They would tell employees, hey, if you go to this store, we'll pay you mileage and extra money to do the scans. They didn't hire an outside company. They're going to pay their employees to do it. They're not going to get an outside company. And you just had to work all the time as a manager, and it was awful. But no amount of time you work is ever not dedicated to something. I got to work towards Christmas time. Oh, Father's Day's coming up. Need to work towards that. Uh-oh, something else is coming up. Got to work towards that too. But inventory, that should always be on your mind. Because no matter how good a job you did throughout the year, it didn't matter. Because the inventory, they were going to scan it. And that's what happens. So keep that in mind. If like a retail employee says, oh, inventory's coming up, inventory's worse than Christmas. So at least Christmas, you get an off day. With inventory, it's like, oh, no, there's inventory. You can't take an off day. Because I think it's something else. The bookstore I worked at was a small store. But they were building and had built a bigger location. Well, they needed more product and inventory. So they gathered, like, they conscripted, like, a group of people from a bunch of other stores. They had different teams, and we hired temp workers to bring out the books. And we just had to shelve the books, put them on the shelf, get everything out, and then the next part was organizing them. And I think I needed a day off. And my manager was like, oh no, you can't take off. The stores, we're moving stores that day and you have to be there. Because that weekend, I think I worked somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 hours out of 24 or out of 48, which is ridiculous. And other people got to take off. Just she didn't want me taking off because I was the only one strong enough to move stuff. And that kind of made me mad because I just wanted one day off. But no. And that was worse than inventory because there's just so, like, organizing everything took forever and ever and ever and ever. Called comping. I don't recommend it. It was awful. They had plenty of people working. I didn't think they'd miss me for one day, but no. And that went on for, like, that weekend was just the start. For 2 weeks, we had to work on it. And just straightening sections. dealing with a new team every day. And that was worse than inventory. But I'm just glad I don't have to do that anymore. But there's always something at a job that will be like an all-encompassing thing that'll take up your whole year, but nothing like inventory.